Hey guys, I'm Shane, welcome back down to the workshop. This is part 2 of the craft school on building a basic weapon that we're going to do. We're continuing with our elven curve blade. What we're going to be doing today is transferring our template to foam, putting foams out, putting the core, putting it all together as a blade. Okay, so first step, what we need to do is prep the core. Now we need to round both the edges off to make sure it doesn't rip into the foam. So you need to take a bit of sandpaper. I use mine on a block most of the time and just take the edges off. So you've got a nice round edge rather than a flat edge. Do that both sides, and then we use hockey tape and we cut a section off without cutting your fingers. And we're going to cover the end. Okay, so that gives it a nice good cover, so that is not going to wear thin onto the foam. Same for the other side. Now, this core has a shiny surface on the top, so we need to get rid of that so the glue can bite to it better. So I just use a little bit more sandpaper and just take the shine off it. And then get a little bit of cloth, just wipe the excess dust off. There you go. Now the glue will bite onto that so much better. Okay, so that's our core prepped. Now we need 3 layers of the sword. Okay, so our template fits that perfectly, except the handle. We're only doing the blade, so that will fit on there perfectly. Now our first one also needs this centre line cutting out for our core, because remember our core is going to go in the middle there, like so. So one of them, and I've only gone up to the edge of the blade here, to the butt, ready for the cross guard to go on it. So our core is going to go in there, like so, to there. So we need to cut this centre piece out now. Then I use a smaller knife, my X-Acto knife, to just trim this edge so it's nice and flat. And take that bit out. Now always keep these little bits because they're great for adding detail if you want to wrap it around for a ring or something. So we have our centerpiece with the middle bit cut out, and we have 2 sides. So what we do now, we glue up the core, glue up the edges on the inside of this, and we glue up our reinforcement. Now this is false leather, okay? It's just false leather. You can use any materials. I've even known somebody use Kevlar strips, but it needs to be a thin material that's got a bit of strength to it, and that will cover that end where the core meets the foam ahead, and you just cover it like that, glue it on. That's going to stop any sideways movement from this core. So we're going to glue this up. So make sure you get the top end as well and just cover it. Right, that should do it. I don't need to go all the way to the end because this will be the handle part. But make sure you do it all the way over, all round it. Then we'll get our first piece and we're going to glue the inside. So right up to the end, put a bit of glue on it and then just cover the inside. Don't put it on too heavy. Just nice, even, thin coat on the other side. Now this contact adhesive does need a little bit of time to dry, so we're going to leave that there. Now we're going to take one of our reinforcements, and it doesn't matter, make a difference which side you do. I always do it so the leather side's up. I don't know why. I'll put that to one side. And then back on this bit, just around here, around this section here, yeah? Around where the core is going to fit in, just put a bit of glue around it. So you can see that, yeah? You can see where the glue's been. You can see it better there. Now, that's touch dry on there, so we still have plenty of space. Now, our core is touch dry as well. So we're going to slide that right up into that tight fit there, and we're going to put it in the middle of this foam. The foam is 10mm, the core I'm using is only 8mm. You don't really want to be going any bigger than the foam you're using. A little bit smaller is fine. Okay, so that's one side, and now we do the other side. Squeeze it up. Now get our reinforcement, and just put it over. You're only after covering where the core meets the foam, and just give it a little bit extra. Okay, so we have our reinforcement on it, we have the core in there, and it's fit nice and small, yeah? Now what we need to do is cover this completely in glue, including the reinforcement and the core again, and then we do one of these sides and we're going to clamp it up. So let's get on with that. Okay, so this is our centerpiece, the core's glued up, and the reinforcement, and this is now touch dry. This is one of the other sides, all glued up, so we're going to put that together. Now what we want to do is this blade edge, trying to make it as smooth as possible with the other side. So follow this seam, okay? So make sure your blade is as smooth between the two parts as you can. Give that a squash down. Now I use a special tool for this, a rolling pin, and then we crush it down, really press into it, get all the air out of it. You can hear it escaping. This is slightly bigger, and so is this. That's not a problem, as long as that edge is even, okay? That bit is not so bad because it's not striking edge. So now what we do is the other side. So we've got the second side all glued up. Now this is touch dry. So now remember, the blade was our straight edge, okay? So you either keep it like that or turn it around, however you want to do it, but keep your straight edge to the same side, don't change, all right? Okay, now we get our specialist tool again, good old rolling pin. If you do nick the wife's or the missus, don't tell her. You'll be dead meat. Alright, now we squash it. So we've got our 3 layers done. That is now our basic shape. What we should do now is squash this and clamp it down for ideally 24 hours. But we don't have 24 hours. You can start work on it now, which is what we're going to do. But you should be leaving it a good at least 10-15 minutes. After about that, you ain't separating these. Not at all. If you can see here, you can see where it's uneven. Yeah? So we're going to try and even that out using our large knife. Okay? Make sure it's sharp. The middle one is the one I'm following, which is the shortest or the smallest. So just try and keep your blade on with that. Keep it well away from your hands. Follow the curve. And make sure your blade is flat, it's not tilted either way. I know that looks rough, don't worry, changing that in a second, okay? Now that wasn't our straight edge, so it's not even an issue. Our straight edge shouldn't need any of that. Where our handle is going to be joining on, we have 3 different layers again. So use the middle one, cut it flat and flush. So now we have a nice flat head for the blade to go on. Our freight edge is relatively straight. What I'm going to do is put the tang on the blade. So this is where the blade goes into the point. Now, you don't want too much. I want about there. Okay? So put your pen on that line, put your finger flat up against the edge. You see that? There you go. Yeah? So that's your guide. And then you can just literally just move, and it will stay uniform. You've got a good basis to follow. Alright, mark it up again and turn it around. Do the exact same thing. We're going to be cutting that section out, but we need to go to the middle, yeah, 3 layers. The middle of the middle layer, okay? Again, find the centre part, which is there. Put your pen tip on it, put your fingers against the edge, and then just follow it round. Now I want some of this curve to be part of the blade as well. So we do the same thing. I'm going to take it all the way to the end. I've just crossed that over. I'll show you what I'll be doing in a minute. Right, so you've got like this cross part here. Yeah, two lines. Don't worry about that. Don't let it confuse you. Now, this top section, we have to be careful because remember our core is quite close to this top, so we have to be very careful. This I will be flattening down with the sander and then hand sanding, and then I'll be taking like a little piece off it, like a very small slither. This, however, I want to be part of a blade. So it's going to be bladed and it's going to be bladed. So again, I'm going to make my mark and I'm going to just take a very thin piece off to about there. So this part is thinner than this bit. Okay, do the same the other side. So we now have all this marked up, so we're going to start cutting it. Now, when you cut, I like to start at an easier point, which is the larger section. I don't want to go completely up to this line, yeah, and I don't want to go completely up to the middle line. That's what the sanding's for. So I'm going to take it near as damn it at a 45-degree angle, yeah. So I'm leaving myself a little bit of sanding room. Okay, so can you see that? You can see where I've almost gone to the line. I have at the very end, all right, and I have almost gone to this line. All right, then you do the same thing all the way down for the rest of the blade. Now back to this end part. So we've took this side off. Now I want to take a bit of this off. All right, same thing. Not quite up to either line. Follow the curve. So we now have a nice little angled part. Now this top, that is the basic shape of the blade. Now what we're going to do is go on the belt sander, smooth this top bit flat, smooth these out to each of the lines, this line, and the same with this bit. So this will be nice and smooth. Right, okay, so I've been on the belt sander and I've took the majority of the sanding off with the belt sander, and as you can see, this has now been smoothed off nice and flat. I've took a little bit of a chamfer on each side. Okay. Now this is my top striking area. As you can see, it's still a little bit rough. I've just smoothed it, took the majority of it off. The rest we're going to do by hand. And the same with the blade. Again, I'm just shy of the actual markings. Okay. And the same on this bit. So what we're going to do is with sandpaper now. Okay, so for curves like this, you want a little bit of rough sandpaper. For things like this, long parts, you want ideally on a block of wood. Okay, and then a larger area than your hand. So it's not just a small piece you're doing, you're actually doing the large piece. Now I have an 80 grit, which is a rough one, just to take the majority of it off, and then I have a 240. There is not much use in going any higher than a 240 because it just doesn't work with foam. Okay, so we're going to start with this part with the loose bit of foam. Alright, this is a 150. Alright, so we're just taking it off, just smoothing it so there's no sand lines, if you like. And make sure you go tight up to your line now. So then we go back in with a little bit of 240 just to smooth that off. Alright. Don't worry how bobbly it's looking, because that'll get smoothed out in a bit. Okay, now this one's not too bad, so just taking that bit off there. Make sure you go over the edge as well a little bit, because you don't want any bobbly bits on there if you can help it. Right, then we can do the top bit. Now this is a larger piece, so I'm going to use my 80 grit. Now you want it nice and smooth transition between there. Now obviously we've got a curve here, so what I'm going to use is my 240 just to smooth that off, smooth the edges. and 240 on the top here. Get rid of those rough parts. Right, and then we do the same for the other parts. Right, here we have it. We have it nicely smooth with our hand sanding. Okay, so we have the nice lines. Now what we're going to do is we're going to seal this up temporarily with a heat gun. Now when we do this, it's just a quick brush over. Do not hold it too long or you will cook the foam and it'll start to warp. A hairdryer will not do at this stage because you need the heat. Okay, you've got to make sure the heat is strong enough just to give it a quick once over. Now the foam will change. It'll change its colour, it'll seal the actual surface. Even though this is high density foam and closed cell foam, it's still slightly open on the surface and we're going to close that. A little bit of noise. Now watch, alright? So a heat gun, just watch the foam texture. You see that? Same again. Both sides. Just give it a quick once over. Any bodily bits will burn away very quickly. There we go, that's it, done. Okay, so there we have our curved elven blade. Nice and smooth, no bubbles and such. Alright. Nice, straight, clean edges. And smooth. Now, what we need to do is to make sure this is safe. So we need to be able to bend it at least 2 inches. So that's 2 inches. Look, we've got about 3 inches there, all right, between the tip and everything. Now squash the blade, make sure you can't feel the core. You should be able to feel it on this side and this side, but not on the top, even though that's non-striking. Definitely not on there, or on the striking. If you can feel the core at any point, we need to put another layer on it just to smooth it off. But no, that's fine. And just to make sure, we have what's called the bench test here at Craftworks, which is, that's fine, look, not a dint. And that's without latex. Okay, so our blade is shaped nice and smooth. And we are ready to start with our handle. Once we get the handle on in the basic shape, then we can put all the detailing on. If we want any, we don't have to. Thank you for joining me. I hope this section was helpful for you. Section 3 will be onto cross guards and handles and pommels, so we'll be finishing this end using the template. Okay, that's the next stage. Once that's done, we can go into detailing. After the details are done, we will then go on to latexing. Once latexing is done, we'll go on to painting, and after painting we will go on to varnish. And that's one weapon done. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, guys. Don't forget I'm also live streaming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays over on Twitch. Same address, TTC Craftworks. Come on over, join us in chat. Please hit the subscribe button, guys, and help me out.